Humans love stories, but unfortunately some stories are retold and believed by others without first checking the facts, and then become myths or urban legends. And Christianity is no exception, which is why in today's episode we'll focus on the top 5 Christian urban legends. And helping us with our countdown is Christian scholar and author Kenneth Samples, Christian comedian and motivational speaker Nick Arnett, the founder of TruthOrFiction.com, Rich Bueller, Christian apologist and professor Craig Hazen, and film director and comedian Corey Edwards.
Urban legends. Remember when urban legends weren't so scary? When it was just like, maybe werewolves are real.
And starting our list at number 5 of the top 5 Christian urban legends, is the government removing God we trust from our coins?
You know, there are 3 things printed on American coins.
What the coin has, the coins have "In God We Trust" in there, or "E pluribus." What is that? "E pluribus numen"?
E pluribus unum, out of many one, liberty, and "In God We Trust." I think those reflect kind of the American democratic republic ideas.
While all coins has these phrases on them, in 2004, the U.S. government authorized the printing of a new $1 coin featuring U.S. presidents, with a strange omission that led to a wild rumor among Christians.
The rumor is that this coin, by our satanic government, has somehow, without our knowing it, been minted without the nation's motto on it, "In God We Trust." All of our money has "In God We Trust" on it.
Of course, behind this would have to be a kind of conspiracy, right? Because suddenly this just pops into existence. Coins without "In God We Trust."
Christians assume that evil forces in the government were at work to remove any mention of God from our money. This story circulated among Christians through convincing emails.
You know, here's George Washington on the front, and it says what the denomination is and so forth, but it doesn't say anything about "In God We Trust." So it's very easy to think that's really true.
And of course, the idea that the government is keeping "In God We Trust" off of the coins is always very sinister, because it's the government that stands behind it.
There are people all over the country who are really mad about this. I was recently at a Christian meeting where the speaker got up and repeated this rumor and proclaimed that he's not going to use these dollars out of protest. The problem is, there's no truth to it whatsoever.
A little further research is that it's correct, it didn't appear on the front or back of the coin, but it was on the edge of the coin.
They have put the motto "In God We Trust," as well as "E pluribus unum," on the edge of the coin. So you got to hold it on the edge to see it. That's why it's not on the front or the back.
To put it on the edge of the coin? I mean, really, who reads the edge of the coin? I mean, you ever count like the little grooves, make sure it has enough? Yeah, well, who thought of that anyway?
While the government printed the motto on the edge, an unfortunate mistake added fuel to the urban legend.
There was a run of coins from the mint that accidentally left "In God We Trust" and "E pluribus unum" off.
There were some coins where it didn't appear at all, but that was a mistake in the printing or engraving process.
But there was only a few hundred of them that were minted, and they become collector's items. But the story of it being designed and minted without "In God We Trust" is not true.
I think Christians maybe need to appreciate that sometimes when it comes to the government, it's more a matter of incompetence than it is conspiracy or a deep ideological difference.
And I suppose one could say, what if they did stop printing "In God We Trust" on our coins? I might say, I like it on the coins, but at the end of the day, so what? That's really not a saving act, publishing that statement on coins.
Who uses a dollar coin anyway? The dollar coin is the kind of thing you give to your niece at Christmas time to make she thinks you gave her a really expensive gift, and you get out of it for $1. That's about the only reason to use it. Yeah. Parking meters don't even take it. That's how lame they are.
We're counting down the top 5 Christian urban legends. And now coming in at number 4, we have the Beast supercomputer in Belgium?
I remember back when I first became a Christian and I was fascinated by end times and eschatology. Somebody told me about a computer they were developing in Belgium. And this was quite a computer. And they thought it might be the beast that's described in the book of Revelation.
The rumor was that there was a supercomputer in Belgium. And this was back in the days when computers were filling many, many rooms. And that this computer had the ability to track every person on Earth, and it was doing so. It could track every purchase you'd made, it would track everywhere that you had gone.
I always hear about that. Like, someday the government or the Antichrist, they're going to track all of us. And I'm like, I guess that's bad? They're going to know that I'm in Target buying some cereal?
The idea of the beast comes from the book of Revelation, chapter 13, where it is described to have incredible control over the people of the world. But according to the rumor, it's the supercomputer that will give the beast its power.
To make it more ominous and more fit with the book of Revelation, somebody said that the computer was able to do kind of like an invisible tattoo imprint or some kind of an imprint on a person's forehead. And coincidentally, the code that was going to be used on the forehead was going to be a series of 666 digits. So that fits in with 666 from the book of Revelation.
But no computer like that was ever discovered. There's no good evidence to support it.
At the time of the rumor, computers were new and mysterious. They were often portrayed as having more power than they really did.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
It was just appealing to people's fear about computers and their misunderstanding about computers.
It does seem a little skeptical that if there is a supercomputer that's tracking all of us, and it's part of the end times, it's a little obvious to name the computer the beast, isn't it? It's like the Devil 5000. What could be a more obvious name for that computer?
But we know where this story came from.
Back in the late 60s, Christian author Joe Munzer wrote a book titled Behold, a Pale Horse, and a screenplay describing the beast supercomputer as a work of fiction.
There was a Christian magazine that printed the story as true. And this man called him up and said, wait a minute, that's not a true story. I created that story 3 years ago. I created it because we were going to make this movie. And I'm hearing people tell this story as though it's true. And it was not true.
You're a pretty good author. You came up with a good idea for a book because it freaked people out that much.
Even though the story is not true, how should we look at the events described in the book of Revelation?
It's very important for Christians to maybe major in the majors when it comes to their view of the last days. And the essential components of that are that Christ will return to earth, that he will resurrect the dead, he will judge humanity, his kingdom will have no end. And we should focus more on the fact that Christ will return rather than in the details that will surround that appearance.
Belgium, a computer power? I mean, really, what is it, a waffle-powered computer? Yeah. Chocolate waffles. I don't know. I think of Belgium, I just want breakfast, pretty much. Yeah, maybe it's a breakfast computer.
Coming up, a Christian urban legend that goes too far.
What if you cause a company to lose millions of dollars because you haven't handled the truth properly?
And a very strange Christian urban legend.
Yeah, some rumors are so crazy and ridiculous that really you almost hate to talk about them on camera for fear of perpetuating them.
When Christianity's good, bad, and unholy Top 5 continues. We're counting down the top 5 Christian urban legends. And coming in at number 3, is the soap company Procter & Gamble satanic?
Probably one of the all-stars of internet rumors, or just rumors in general, is the idea that the Procter & Gamble symbol, Procter & Gamble, who produces so many household goods that we all use, that behind that is a symbol of Satan.
There's long been a conspiracy that Procter & Gamble is a satanic organization.
The urban legend claims that the head executive of Procter & Gamble went on a national television talk show and made a startling announcement.
And that he said that he was a Satanist and that all of the proceeds of what he got were being given to Satan.
Nobody knows which program it was, and they don't have any evidence of the actual interview, but somebody from P&G went on there and said, we're a satanic organization. You Christians are never going to be able to, confront us.
You can see if there was a Satanist who was going to start a corporation with a devious satanic plan in mind, that he would create a company to make dental floss and toothpaste and baby powder. Those devious Satanists with their products.
None of that is true. It is just complete fabrication, and where it came from, we have no idea.
While the story has been a complete hoax, there's also a rumor that surrounds the old Procter & Gamble logo.
Part of the problem is, in the minds of some anyway, is that Procter & Gamble has somewhat of an unusual symbol.
Now, if you ever see the logo, you will notice that it looks a little bit new agey, that it looks a little bit astrological, and it does have that feel to it.
I think maybe every time a moon and a star shows up anywhere, Christians get nervous, because that's up in space. That's part of astrology, right?
The symbol goes back to the days when Procter & Gamble was moving product on the riverfronts, on riverboats. And a lot of the dock workers didn't know how to read. And so that's where a lot of trademarks started, was the people who were delivering the stuff needed to know what it was they were picking up off of the riverboat and putting into the wagon to be delivered. That became the Procter & Gamble logo. Absolutely meaningless spiritually, was not chosen for any spiritual meaning, and the entire rumor is completely bogus and has done Procter & Gamble a lot of harm.
There isn't any evidence that Procter & Gamble has any malevolent spiritual orientation. They're a good company and they make good products. I've known people who've worked at P&G. A lot of Christian people work there.
There were several efforts on the part of the Christian community to try to quell this rumor. Famous personages, Jerry Falwell, Pat Robertson, Billy Graham even participated in putting out the word saying, this is a false rumor, these are fine people, this is a good company, don't believe it. It had no effect whatsoever.
While the rumor is false, Christians have a responsibility to research the truth claims of these sensational stories.
What if you cause a company to lose millions of dollars because you haven't handled the truth properly? That's not right.
I just can't think of a stranger fit between a company that makes wonderful household goods and Satanists. It's just crazy. And the idea that these top executives went on the top talk shows of the day and actually revealed what they were doing is just crazy.
And I wish Oprah or Phil Donahue or Sally Jesse would have done something about it. Tackle the guy. Come on. Get him with his own toothpaste.
We're nearing the end of our list of the top 5 Christian urban legends, and coming in at number 2 is Barack Obama the Antichrist?
Yeah, some rumors are so crazy and ridiculous that really you almost hate to talk about them on camera for fear of perpetuating them. And one such rumor is that Barack Obama is certainly the Antichrist. Oh my goodness.
There have been several different stories that try to force Barack Obama into the mold of the Antichrist. But one of the stories that's gotten the most circulation is one that says that Jesus named the Antichrist, and it was Barack Obama.
The book of Revelation describes the Antichrist as a powerful person who will oppose God's people. But information is very limited.
There is very little about the who, what, where, and why all of this will happen. The details are limited, but we do know that this will be a force that will oppose Christ and Christ's church.
So the Antichrist is a prominent figure in end-time theology. But how exactly does the Bible identify Barack Obama as the Antichrist?
The essence of the claim is that Jesus spoke Aramaic, we know that. When he talked about in Luke that he beheld Satan falling from the heavens, if you get into the guts of the language in the Aramaic, you'll find a word called Barak. And if you go into the Old Testament with some references to when Satan was, booted out of heaven, you'll find something that says Bama or Ubama, depending on how you're reading it. And so they're saying, see, it means Barack Obama.
I don't know where they're getting that. That has nothing to do with the New Testament scriptures, but it certainly has a lot to do with an internet rumor.
One of those words would not have been used by Jesus in Aramaic. Another word would not have been used in the Hebrew. The whole thing was just very, very contrived, and that happens a lot.
While the reasoning falls flat, the truth is Barack Obama is not alone. Many other famous people have been identified as the Antichrist.
Well, didn't they say that about Ronald Reagan? I remember that because his name's Ronald Wilson Reagan, 6 letters each. And if Reagan was the Antichrist, I think he had some pretty Christ-like values.
It's also been said of various popes that they were the Antichrist. There was the thought that Hitler was the Antichrist. Other people thought that Joseph Stalin was an Antichrist, or Chairman Mao, these tyrannical leaders who had enormous power.
But anybody who you don't want in office at least can be brought up on charges. This person is the Antichrist.
While others in history have been simply identified as being the Antichrist, Obama's alleged connection remains very complicated.
But somebody would spend that much time looking into Aramaic, of all things, trying to figure out that this somehow adds up to Barack Obama being named by Jesus in the book of Luke. It's very, very, very contrived.
The scriptures are pretty clear as to some of the markers of the Antichrist. I think we'll know it when the time comes. And Barack Obama, you may be many things, but you're not the Antichrist.
It can't be Obama, because the Antichrist is supposed to be someone who solves all the world's problems, and so far Obama hasn't done that.
Coming up, the #1 Christian urban legend.
I still occasionally get a stray email warning me of a great evil.
That's centered around a very unique person.
She is like the Darth Vader of Christianity. She is this legendary villain.
When Christianity's good, bad, and unholy, Top 5 continues. We've been counting down the top 5 Christian urban legends. Before we reveal our #1 pick, let's recap our list. At number 5, was the government removing God from our coins?
I think Christians maybe need to appreciate that sometimes when it comes to the government, it's more a matter of incompetence than it is, kind of a conspiracy or a deep ideological difference.
At number 4, is the Beast supercomputer in Belgium?
It's a little obvious to name the computer the Beast, isn't it? It's like the Devil 5000. What could be a more obvious name for that computer?
At number 3, is Procter & Gamble satanic?
None of that is true. It is just complete fabrication, and where it came from, we have no idea.
And at number 2, is Barack Obama the Antichrist?
I don't know where they're getting that. That has nothing to do with the New Testament scriptures, but it certainly has a lot to do with an internet rumor.
And now, the #1 Christian urban legend. Is atheist Madalyn Murray O'Hair trying to remove God from the airwaves?
I still occasionally get a stray email warning me of a great evil. And that great evil is that Madalyn Murray O'Hair is helping to remove any reference to God on the public airwaves, the radio stations and the TV stations. No more programming with any reference to God whatsoever.
Madalyn Murray O'Hair was described as the most hated woman in America.
You're going to spend your whole life preparing to meet the Lord. Boy, you folks are crazy as hell.
She was a militant atheist. She got people mad at her and loved it.
And is truly responsible for helping to remove prayer from public school classrooms in the United States.
Madalyn Murray O'Hair, she is like the Darth Vader of Christianity. She is this legendary villain.
So it was the perfect rumor because the story that was circulated was that Madalyn Murray O'Hair, this big villain, was now turning her targets toward Christian broadcasting, and that she was trying to go to the government to take Christian radio and television broadcasting off the air.
She thought religion was being forced down somebody's throat, so she went to the FCC and had a petition to try to stop Christian programming and Christian radio.
While many Christians feared the worst, The truth is that Madalyn Murray O'Hair never tried to take Christian broadcasting off the airwaves.
None of it's true. Madalyn Murray O'Hair was indeed an atheist. She did, in fact, think that religion was a bunch of nonsense, but there was never any petition made to the FCC.
But it was such a perfect combination of startling facts that people just exploded with anger and with concern.
While the rumor is false, events took a strange turn when Madalyn Murray O'Hair suddenly disappeared.
Madalyn Murray O'Hair actually went missing at one point. It was discovered later that someone in her organization had actually killed her.
So she departed the scene. So you think, well, what's going to happen to the rumor now? Well, it kept going. Somebody started a version of the e-rumor that says, even from the grave, she's reaching out to destroy Christian radio and television, and her atheistic organization is pushing for the FCC to take Christian broadcasting off the air. So that kept circulating.
This rumor needs to be put to rest in a grave much deeper than Madalyn Murray O'Hair.
So her greatest achievement is that she's got people running around scared about a petition she didn't even write. So good job, Maddie.
Thank you for watching Christianity's Good, Bad, and Unholy Top 5. We hope you enjoyed this program. If you would like to learn more about the subjects we talked about here, please visit our website at ChristianTop5.com. There you can download free in-depth study guides, view outtakes, bonus features, and preview other shows. Join us next time as we explore Christianity's Good, Bad, and Unholy Top 5. Remember, Christians are imperfect people. That's why we need God.